Well, good Saturday evening, Southeast Texas. Hope you're having a great Valentine's Day and evening. Of course, we had the showers and thunderstorms earlier, but the rain's pretty much ending now. Still some slick streets out there on the interstate on our Roofing 911 Skycam network over in Orange, sponsored by the Horseman's Western Store. Most areas saw about an inch of rain. Some areas a little more, some areas a little less, a little bit of lightning here and there. Had a few reports of some pea-sized hail in Hardin County. That was about it. No tornadoes across Southeast Texas. That was even better news. And temperatures have dropped a little bit into the lower 60s across Southeast Texas this evening behind the rainfall. Here in Beaumont, still some slick streets, just some light rain left. That's it on our Roofing 911 Skycam network outside our 12 studios, sponsored by Mid-County Plumbing. So skies may actually clear later tonight, get a little bit of sun in the morning, and then we'll cloud up a little bit again tomorrow afternoon. But very nice day coming up temperature wise for your Sunday. Up the lakes area, things are pretty quiet now as well. Had about an inch of rain up in the lakes. Some areas an inch and a half in a few spots, which was well needed. Certainly needed this rainfall. A little help on the burn bans. I'm sure the burn bans will be gone beginning tomorrow and Monday, helping out a little bit on the drought. Up in Jasper, you see the rain falling under the street lights there a little bit. There's some light rain left over at our station up in Jasper. Our camera sponsored by Provalis. And of course, our storm trackers have been out tonight, tracking it in the field. Things looking pretty good. Now heading back into Beaumont southbound on highway there, and dark in spots. Now there were quite a few power outages, 3,500 I think in the viewing area total. And in Orange County had about 1,500, which is not surprising. They had some wind gusts up to 60 in Orange as that line of storms moved through. But thankfully it moved through quickly and we were in pretty good shape now. And of course the rest of the area beginning to improve as well. Cooler, drier weather on tap for tomorrow and Monday. Warming trend and dry weather for much of next week. All right, let's take a look at radar. This is what we like to see here. Back edge of the rain now approaching Beaumont from the west. So about 30 minutes or so, it'll all be over with, even the light stuff. Temperatures have cooled off behind the showers and storms. 60 in Orange, 58 Beaumont, 60 in Port Arthur, 60 over in Intercontinental as well. Actually, skies are clearing already. Some clear skies briefly there west of Houston. All the severe weather now is over around Lake Charles up to DeRidder, moving toward Lafayette and Baton Rouge later on tonight. As we said, rainfall totals weren't too bad. Boy, it's much needed too. Anywhere from 3/4 of an inch to about an inch and a half. So that was very nice. That'll put an end probably to the burn bans. That's good news there, and helping a little bit on our drought. Of course, we'll take what we can get when we get it as we get closer to springtime. That's for sure. And across the area, there's a look at those rainfall totals. They weren't bad at all. We need every little bit we can get. Now this is coming up for the next hour or two. So you can see how everything's pushed east, but most areas ended up with about an inch to an inch and a half of rain. Temperatures across the rest of the state in the 40s and 50s in the northwest, 59 El Paso, 60 in Houston, and where it's still fairly warm and unstable, New Orleans still at 70 degrees. New Orleans will have the heavy thunderstorms that we had coming up later on tonight. So thankfully no tornadoes. We had enough wind, that was for sure, but the instability just wasn't high enough. We'd have had higher instability, we could have had more tornado warnings across the area, but thankfully the instability stayed pretty low, which is fairly normal in the winter time here. Being close to the Gulf, the water temperatures are chilly out there, and that keeps the instability down, helps us out somewhat. But you can still get them spin up from time to time, but thankfully that didn't happen tonight. Boy, the rest of the state, really nice. It's clear now west of Houston. Lots of clear skies, San Antonio, San Angelo, up into the Texas Panhandle. Of course, we're beginning to clear out now to our west. Houston will be clear here in the next hour. Lots of clear skies there, and there goes our line of storms. Is now in Louisiana. Tornado watch is going with it. In fact, it just expired a couple of minutes ago. That has expired now, so that's good news. See some clouds still wrapping around parts of northeast Texas. Some of these may work back down into our area coming up on and off throughout the day tomorrow. But tomorrow looks very pleasant, a little bit lower humidity, a little bit windy. We'll have north winds 10 to 20 at times in the afternoon, starting out with some sun and then some clouds in the afternoon. Notice how that tornado watch has shifted to the east now, covering east of Lake Charles, Lafayette, Baton Rouge, and eventually into New Orleans, where they'll have some wind issues to deal with later on tonight. And Futurecast is showing doing a pretty good job. There's the back edge of the rain now as we speak. Moves on out. Things clear up. In fact, I think skies may actually become clear coming up later on tonight before clouds move back in tomorrow. Step out of the picture here and take a look at the storm trackers heading back into town from 96 up to the north. See a lot of the street lights still on there. Thankfully, there weren't more power outages than what we had. Now, I know 3,500, that's enough. That's too many if you're one of those people. Yes, it is. But 1,500 of that was in Orange County. They had some of the strongest winds move through Orange. And there's the update on energy there. And you can see just scattered power outages here and there. But you notice bulk of those just east of Ider, city of Orange, on up toward Deweyville. Southern Newton counties had some outages as well. So could have been worse. They were zooming around Beaumont. Let's see, Beaumont, not too terribly bad. Some outages there on the north side of Ider. Let's head back into Beaumont. Got a few here and there, a couple downtown, a few on the west end. Yeah, we've actually, we've seen it a lot worse. But like I said, 3,500, even if it wasn't but 200, that's still, to those folks, that's too many. But it could have been a lot worse, and hopefully your power will be restored later on tonight because the rains will be ending here in the next 30 minutes. So we'll see if the crews can get out there and get the residents that are out of power back going before morning, if not certainly tomorrow, because the weather looks great. You see, still running the windshield wipers a little bit, still have that light to moderate rain out there, still every now and then a flash or two of lightning as well. As we said, no flooding. That was the good news there. Of course, we're too dry to see any of that, but we just didn't get enough rainfall really to see any flooding. It was just moving too quickly. But if you're out and about, see the storm chasers kind of looking at things tonight, just drive slow, heading home from your Valentine's activities, heading home, drive slow, drive safe. Everything looking pretty good, no flood issues to worry about or anything like that. So pretty good. We'll drop into the 50s coming up later tonight. So you'll notice a little bit of a temperature difference later tonight into tomorrow. Notice these clouds kind of come back, kind of wrapping around that big area of low pressure. You can see that there. Be in the mid 50s coming up by tomorrow morning. It's a little bit cooler. I think tomorrow is actually going to be a little bit cooler than today. We were in the low 70s today. I think we'll stay in the 60s tomorrow, but still that's very nice compared to what we've had. We've had mid to upper 70s lately, a lot of humidity, but still mid to upper 60s for highs tomorrow with a breezy northwest winds across southeast Texas and the lakes area. So you're in pretty good shape too with those temperatures in the 60s tomorrow compared to the mid 70s and all the humidity we've had lately. That marine forecast, seas will run 2 to 5 feet. Now, if you have any boating plans tomorrow, even though the weather looks pretty nice, not the best boating because it's going to be pretty windy. Small craft advisory in effect. We'll have winds becoming northwest, 15 to 25 knots offshore. And pretty much the same thing up at Rayburn too. It'll be pretty breezy. If you have any fishing plans tomorrow afternoon, and that water temperature at 66. Rain's coming to an end. Overnight lows in the 50s tonight. Tomorrow, about 70 for a high. We'll be pushing it, I think, to get to 70. And that 7-day forecast looks beautiful. 70s the next several days. The coolest morning, Monday morning, upper 40s, near 50. That's a little bit below normal for lows, but not bad. Well, boy, look, as we head toward Thursday, Friday, close to 80 for high temperatures. That's spring-like for sure. Not record highs, but they're still pretty warm, well above normal, that's for sure. And our next chance of rain, it's only a slight one right now. That's a week away next Saturday, and it's only a 20% coverage right now across southeast Texas. What we'll have is another front coming through. It's a weak front, and we'll have most of the upper level energy with that will be well to the north. So even though we could certainly use some more rain, that's for sure. You can see Futurecast keeping the rains moving on out rest of the night. That's good news there, and temperatures falling into the 50s, and we may see another 1/10 of an inch before the rain ends here in the next 30 to 45 minutes. Of course, all the severe weather. And if you have any travel plans tonight, hopefully you don't this late, but heading off to our east, weather looks pretty rough around Lafayette, Baton Rouge, and New Orleans. Could see some wind damage coming up later tonight, but thankfully that's after all the Mardi Gras things. I'm going to go to the Weather Center real quick and get us back to radar and see what things look like there. Because like I said, this has been one of the fastest moving lines of storms I have seen in a long time. It's something you see in the late spring. A lot of times you'll see these storms move this fast. That's how strong the winds were in the upper levels of the atmosphere. All right, there's radar back. You can see everything, the heavy stuff as well to our east now. That's good news. Moving through Lake Charles, just about to end there. And we're just left with some light to moderate rain, 58 degrees. See the green, a couple of yellow spots. That's just light to moderate stuff. In fact, at Houston right now, at Intercontinental, they have some clearing. It's clearing, mostly clear there. They'll have a few clouds on and off. They'll clear later tonight, and so will we. We'll start out with some sun in the morning, and then we'll see some clouds returning on and off throughout the day. But up in the lakes area, of course, you've needed the rain desperately too. You had about 1 inch to 1.5 inches. A lot of that falling over Jasper and up toward Rayburn, which is good news because Rayburn is about 8 to 9 foot low. And let's take a look at our storm trackers again, and let's see what's going on there as he gets back into College Street, back into town there off Interstate 10 on the service road. Still running the wipers a little bit. There's a look at radar. We're on the back edge right there. Yeah, about another 15 minutes we'll be done with the rain. But notice he's making the turn left, coming back to the station. Good to see, no flooding. Good to see. Certainly didn't need that tonight with people out with all the Valentine's activities and festivities and Mardi Gras. Lots going on this time of the year up and through spring. There'll be a lots going on every weekend. So at least it's good to see no flooding tonight, no tornadoes. That's good. Had some scattered, wind damage we thought would happen here and there. Some power outages, as we said, about 3,500 area wide. Orange County having a lot of that at about 1,500. And you see the back edge of the rain. And there's a look at Energy's map again. Notice you kind of, it's kind of bulked up there, bulk there, clustered in orange. Because around Little Cypress, they had some wind gusts to 65. I was looking at that a while ago, about a 65 to 70 gust over around LCM earlier. And that moved east, produced that severe thunderstorm warning around Lake Charles and Calcasieu Parish there. So, like I said, hopefully the power that's out at your location now, hopefully that'll be restored tonight. If not, hopefully fairly early coming up on your Sunday. But it's going to be nice to see some improving weather. It's been lots of clouds, windy and humid the last few days. It'll be a little bit cooler tomorrow, drier, a little bit breezy. It'll be very nice. Great day to get outdoors tomorrow, as all the severe weather rain will be well to our east. And notice up in Jasper, they're down to 61. That's nice and cool. In fact, we're even cooler here in Beaumont at 58. That's nice. Temperature's pretty holding steady. May drop to 55 later tonight, then back up to the upper 60s, maybe close to 70 coming up for tomorrow afternoon. So pretty good soaking rain. Lakes in the Triangle, no complaints there. We need the rain. We got some good rain this evening. Like I said, on average about 1 inch. So that was pretty nice there, and hopefully maybe next weekend we can up those